Hey friends, it's Nicole here today with a Valentine gift bag featuring the Honeybee stamps Mae the Mouse stamps and dies, the gift bag, some scalloped hearts, some stacking hearts, all the things to make a Valentine's gift bag. If you guys followed me through the holiday season or past holiday seasons, you guys probably already know that I love gift packaging. And that really extends into the Valentine's season. So we're going to start by stamping Mae the Mouse, which I absolutely love. I do not love mice, except in stamp form. I absolutely do. So I stamped her, the flower, or him. It could be either way, whatever you want to do. It could be maybe Mike the Mouse, who knows. I stamped the mouse, rose, envelope, and heart from Mae the Mouse on Bristol Smooth cardstock using VersaMark ONYX, or VersaFine, pardon me, ONYX black ink, and I'm coloring in with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, purposely coloring my mouse in light shades and tones. One of the great things about the latest markers from Zig, they're not brand new. I've had mine for probably at least a couple months now, and they were probably released a couple months before that, but they're all in lighter shades and tones, and there's a blender, which is clear. So if you're not comfortable adding water, it's a great way to thin out, blend lightly, and just get that really nice effect. What I love about coloring the mouse in light beige tones that are very, very light, it works great with the colors I'm using for the gift bag. I was very purposeful in coloring her lightly because I wanted it to just complement the colors I'd already picked for the gift bag. You can probably see those down in the bottom right corner of the screen. But I'm going with pastel pinks. For whatever reason, really drawn to pink. And I'm not a super pastel pinky kind of girl usually, but I'm really into it this season. So we've colored in their mouse with beige, light beige, blender, and pink haze for the insides of the ears and cheeks. We're doing a little carmine red with pink flamingo and the blender for the rose. Those little areas I left white, we're going to take the blender and just blend into that. It's going to give some fantastic highlight areas on our rose. Super pretty. I want the mouse to appear to be holding this armful of awesome embellishments, and then also holding on to a little banner sign that says, "Will you be my Valentine?" The heart is peach pink, sugared almond pink, the blender again, and then that little scallop outline, kind of hard to tell it's a scallop outline, is carmine red. The little heart on the envelope, carmine red and pink flamingo again. And then something I love with Valentine's cards that are predominantly reds and pinks is a little mint. So I like to use turquoise green and green shadow and then the blender here to make a little mint envelope. It gives it just a hint of color, very, very light, but super pretty. We're going to finish our Zig coloring with light green and yellow green for the stem and leaves of the rose. And then die cut all of our pieces with the coordinating Mae the Mouse Honeybee Stamps dies. Now, the great thing about this critter, as well as several from the Honeybee line, is that the arms die cut so that they can appear to be holding things. In this case, as I mentioned, she's going to be holding this armful of embellishments as well as a banner sign. So we can play around with those. I like to kind of play with it before I commit to gluing anything down, just to see what's working, what's not, maybe what I need to adjust when I get to the actual project. Now, I did die cut my components off screen, and that is just simply to save time today, so you don't have to watch me rolling through my die cutting machine. I'm going to share with you first the pieces of the bag. The gift bag card dies. You're going to need 2 panels for your bag. Plus, I like the insert because it looks like tissue paper, but you don't actually have to put tissue paper in. I originally die cut from vellum, and then I went back to the wood grain vellum. I think that's from Hero Arts, it is. And I like it because to me, it looks more like tissue paper. It's got that texture to it. So I actually switched that out for that. I've also done something that I don't normally do, and that is I went old school. I have some eyelets left in my stash, and I grabbed those and I added eyelets to each side of the bag before I assembled it to decorate those holes and give them a little bit more stability. You're going to want to use the larger size eyelets if you do this because the holes are pretty big in the bag, but they are perfectly sized for those large eyelets. And what's great about that, I am using a really thick yarn type of ribbon today, something else from my stash, kind of a stash buster type project. Things that I had in my stash from scrapbooking days that I don't necessarily use anymore because they're super thick, and I tend to like flatter type embellishment for my cards for easy mailing. But gift packaging, it's a great opportunity to use those thick products we might all have in our stash. So there are score lines on our bag, and I like to score those down with a bone folder before I assemble them. I've also used a 1/4 inch score tape on one side of the bag. You can see I did that on this side of the bag here. I'm just going over the score tape then to make sure the adhesive is really good on those tabs, and I'm going to remove these 3 strips, and then I'm going to place one side of the bag on the other, lining them up and just pressing those in place. And I'm going a little slow. I want to make sure I get them lined up. Those tabs can kind of try to fold in on themselves a little bit. Once I have that lined up, I go over it with the bone folder again. This is just securing that score tape. It's a really nice strong adhesive and holding the gift bag together. So there's what our gift bag looks like. I'm going to slide my tissue paper in. I probably could have held off on that and put the straps into the bag first, but I didn't. So there we go. There's my bag. Now, before I start embellishing, I really do need to add those straps, but we'll get back to that. I have die cut my hearts off camera as well. There is a brand new die collection with the Brie Mine release called the Scallop Hearts that coordinate with the stacking hearts for the most amazing, beautiful stacked heart designs. So excited about this. In fact, I went ahead and created a whole bunch while I had this out, even ones I'm not using on this bag. I think I'm going to make some other project with those later, so stay tuned for that. But I love them. And I've also utilized pattern paper from my stash, something that I don't use a ton in crafting anymore. And as I was putting this bag together, I was kind of like, why do I not? Because I love this pattern paper. I downsized my pattern paper recently, kind of side note, and I just tore out the sheets I liked from 6x6 paper pads and organized them by color, which made this project really easy. You can see I layered my hearts there and just glued them one on top of another, but how gorgeous does that scallop look behind the solid heart? And you guys, these come in tons of sizes, and I really, really love the shape of this heart. I would go as far as to say I love hearts of all shapes and sizes, but this is my particular favorite. I really like this, the kind of, I don't want to say it's super long and skinny, but this is, to me, the traditional heart, and I love it. I am threading my yarn through my bag now and knotting it. And what's great, the eyelets just make that hole enough smaller that I really think it secures the ribbon better. In fact, I really wish I would have done this with the Christmas gift bags I did. I'll link to those at the end of the video if you want to see another option. And just remember, you can always switch out greetings and colors to make gift bags work for whatever occasion or celebration you need them for. But just another idea for utilizing this gift bag. I love this because it's kind of flat. And it's just a super cute gift bag. And I like these little straps. I am knotting these, slipping that into the inside of the bag, but the little thick strap really works for me. I think that this really gives a nice, I don't know, presence to the bag, I guess. And you could even add a gift, one of the die cut gift tags from the gift bag card die collection to this. I did not. But I think when I go to give this as a gift, I will add a little tag with the recipient's name and maybe even embellish it with some more of those hearts because I love them. So I have now added a little foam adhesive to my heart, and you would not have to do this if you use a flatter ribbon, but because I'm using a thick ribbon, I want my heart to lay nicer, and that's just going to lift it up enough on the front of my gift bag that it's going to lay really nice over those yarn straps on the front. We're only decorating one side of the bag, and I want that heart to lay nice and flat there, so I did use the foam adhesive. Next, we are going to create the banner with the Banner Builder dies and the Brie Mine stamp set. So I've stamped Valentine from Brie Mine using Lawn Fawn Ballet Slippers ink, and then we're going to stamp Will You Be My with the GUAVA Lawn Fawn ink. What I love about Honeybee stamps is that they have sentiment builder stamp sets that you can really create all kinds of greetings. They're not just a set greeting. You can really customize it to say what you want to say. You can customize it to be in, you know, the format you want. In this case, I needed it to fit a banner shape, and I didn't want my banner to be too big. By the way, this Banner Builder set, fantastic. If you like creating banners and you want something that's going to create the perfect banner, this set is fantastic. So I stamped my sentiments, die cut them with one of the shapes, did not worry that my cardstock didn't really fit the banner shape because I'm going to be trimming it down anyway with these awesome little bracket dies, which make the perfect little tabbed banner ends. So I'm just playing around with my mouse and my little banner right now, making sure I like how that looks, playing with placement. I tend to fuss around with my product quite a lot before I actually glue it in place. I have learned over the years that if I don't, I generally move it around and run the risk of tearing something. Now I did go ahead and already take a black glazed pen and go over the eyes. This is something that if you watch my videos, you've probably seen me do many, many times because I think the face is super important. I went in with a black fine tip pen, added eyelashes, and a white pen to add that highlight back into the eye. Then I am going to glue my mouse down in place. Now don't do what I did. I picked it up immediately. I rubbed my thumb over the face and smeared the eye that I just inked. Luckily it was just the white and not the black, because if it had been the black, I would have had to start all over. Ask me how I know that. I've done it several times. I get in too big of a hurry. So I went back over the eye with my black pen. Gonna let that dry all the way again. We'll go back with the white pen, add the highlight back in a minute. I feel like it's important to leave these things in so you can really get a feeling for it. Does not always go perfectly the first time. In fact, I would say it rarely does. But when you are creating art and crafting, just go with it. Try to fix things when you can, and you know, hopefully you will learn from some of those things that I do and maybe won't do them yourself. Who knows? Here are those great little tabs for the end of our banner. I am going to run them through the machine. Look at that perfect little banner end. I love this. There are two different sizes because the banners get bigger. I would say this is kind of more on the smaller scale. There's 6 different size banner strips in the Banner Builder. Different ends you can use, then these two little bracket shapes, and you can use those to create tabs on the end of the banner. So let's tuck our rose into the mouse's arms first, and you can see it's not really going to look like she's holding it because it's going to get covered up, and I think it just kind of lends itself to looking like her arms are full of these Valentine's goodies once we get everything put in place. But it's long, and so I wanted to put that in first and then add our banner. And we just need to pop up the hands just a tiny bit. I don't want to bend them, and have her holding on to this Will You Be My Valentine banner. I again think that the color choices you pick for stamping a sentiment on a project like this are super important. I think the reddish or peachish red color I used and the pink color really complement the design better than a black ink would have, or even maybe a gray or something. Always be aware of that when you're stamping. It's something that I have really been working on this past, I would say past year even. I've done it for quite a while, but I've really been aware of it in the last, I would say probably 8-9 months, that sometimes the color choice you pick for a sentiment makes all the difference in the world. If this was black, I think it would really take away from the design. I tucked the heart and envelope into her arms. I fixed the eyes. Look how cute she is. But I still think the bag needs a little something. And my go-to are, for any project, let alone a honeybee project, I added glossy accents to her nose and also the little heart on the envelope just to finish those off and give it a glossy raised finish. But my go-to embellishment are the honeybee candy hearts. I love them. They come in a red color, a pink color, which I'm using those two today. Those colors are called Kiss Me and Hug Me. White, which is a great staple. I use it all the time. And a color that I ordered. I actually ordered this one, and I don't have yet, but it's a black and white color combination, which I know I already have white, but I use a lot of those. But I thought the black would be really fun as well. The white is great because you can customize it into any color if you wanted to, just by dipping it maybe into a little VersaMark or another clear embossing ink and embossing it with an embossing powder. I've done that before and it works great. These hearts are the perfect finishing touch. I'm using the Crystal Katana to pick them up, a little Ranger Multi-Matte Medium to glue those down in place. I adorned the middle of our heart that we stamped and colored and die cut with one of these, and then I'm scattering them throughout the design. Even adding one to the end of the sentiment here on the banner. I absolutely love them. This tiny little touch here makes all the difference in the world, I think, and really finishes off our gift bag beautifully. Now, I did not share the rest of my hearts creation in this video, but here in a second, in the final project photos, you are going to see even more of those hearts using the stacking and scalloped hearts, and also the Bold Numeric. I die cut the number 14 and added that to one of the hearts. So much fun. Maybe give you a little idea of some other things you can do with those basic heart dies. Thank you so much for joining me today for this gift bag project featuring honeybee stamps and dies. The supplies I used to create this project are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Here are a couple more projects featuring honeybee that you might be interested in. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.